Good morning to you, my friends, wherever you may be in the world today. Alan Clements here from Santa Monica, California, United States of America. Wherever you may be in the world, from my heart to yours, here May 10th, 2021. Today is I think it's the 34th live stream based upon my newly released book, Extinction X-Rated. I was going to dedicate it to my beloved daughter, Sarabella, but at the last minute I chose to dedicate it to the future of life through my beloved daughter. Today's sharing is in reflection, a spontaneous reflection about my beloved daughter, Sarabella, 14 and a half years old, living with her mom in Mexico, from Vancouver, Canada. Hello, dear Bella, wherever you may be. On your surfboard, walking with your clan, doing your digital art, playing your electric violin or your keyboard or cello, or drawing eyeballs and minds and consciousness as you do. And to the children, both of the world and the children yet born, and as well the unborn natural life, the non-humans. Having written this book and studied environmental issues, climate collapse, extinction, I dare use the word, both as the definition of nibbana, the Pali Buddhist word, the extinction of greed, anger, and delusion, as well as the extinction of the humanoid, the Homo sapien, an animal kingdom. 90% are said to be going extinct based upon this sixth mass extinction. Welcome to the universe, correct? So today is a rave for, I want to say, the children, my daughter, for life. You know, pause. This week and next week, those of you who've been intimately following my story, my narrative, my sharings over the last few years, especially the last few months, and especially the last 10 days or 2 weeks, based upon this diagnosis and prognosis with this, I never could pronounce the word, even now that I know it, the ascending, acutely enlarged aorta, the largest vein in the body, and of course coming right out of the top of the heart is an aneurysm, an enlargement of the heart from feeling feeling so much rather than too much compassion, too much empathy, not enough wisdom, whatever the elasticity of that aorta is, that gives that diagnosis as a radiator hose, as I was told, ready to dissect, rupture, or burst. Okay. And so this week and next week are active in the hospital. I have a number of tests, one specific test called an angiogram, very invasive, maybe a day or two in the hospital, to determine through, minute imaging that go in through your veins and into the heart and into the arteries, the health, the deterioration of tissue and arteries. That's in addition to the aorta and the aneurysm, along with other things that I've discovered in the last 2 weeks, including lung and thyroid as of a couple of days ago. But that's secondary compared to the heart. And so I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the vulnerability. I'm feeling mortality. I'm feeling, I want to say, dynamic. That's not quite the word, but I'm welcome into this space, and I'm feeling, I want to say my daughter. I'm feeling my relationship with her through 14 and a half years and from who knows how far back. And I don't want to emphasize my daughter here because it was a gift to me later in my life to be blessed with a child. And in my case, a blessed daughter. And I so delighted, regardless of the circumstances, which is not that interesting to me. We all have our complexities being alive. And I've had mine, I continue to have mine, you have yours. But the truth is, the essence of it is that there's this beloved other human being that comes through you, that is with you, that you feel a resonant beauty with. If you feel that. I did, and I still do. And it's been the greatest gift of my life, along with a number of other splendid, highly spiritualized gifts. And I wish I had time to plan this and really do justice to the Rave for her and the Rave for children, but please allow me, because I just, at the last minute today, off to hospital in a few minutes, I said, you know, if nothing else gets said and done, hello, Sarabella, I love you. And reflecting over the years, the walks, the talks, the bus rides, the taxis, the dinners, the films, the art together, how often the delight I would have in seeing you just lose it on the canvas of everything and everywhere in the flat, the apartment. Painting, drawing, configuring, chalking, moving from the canvas to the wall, to the floor, to our arms and face. Nothing wasn't art for those moments where you just anointed yourself in the spontaneity of creative expression. And I want to, really emphasize that, because I was going today talk about meditation, but I want to intersect meditation, because this week and next week especially are not theoretical. They're the embodiment of everything I've ever known to pacify denigrating states of consciousness and to elevate beautiful states of consciousness. And I think when I think about my daughter, the most important things I've tried to communicate has been aesthetics, uniqueness, a respect for language, decency, spontaneity, uniqueness, the flawlessness of imperfection, rhythms, the way in which we move and flow rather than the ideal or the perfection of a sustained state, a sustained equilibrium, that there is this dexterity of mind and consciousness to move with the rhythms of one's diet, one's appetite, one's inner tensions and releases from tensions, to anoint yourself with reverence, to allow yourself the wisdom of flaws, the treachery of societal judgments and expectations, and that tension between wanting to work, blend, integrate with uniqueness and risk-taking. Few of you know, because we haven't spent that much time together, but those very few intimates who've been with me for a long time and who know me well know that when I was in school, quite young, I was so shy. And if called upon, I would instantly put my head down, I don't know why, on the table and cry, to the point where it became, don't call upon Alan to answer a question. I don't know why that came in. It was the fear of embarrassment, the inability to articulate, the uncertainty of knowing the right answer. And for whatever reason, I just loved my aloneness. And my parents and my brother and my mom and dad, we moved a lot up and down the East Coast in a 30-foot pulled along aluminum trailer. My father was in the Navy, my mother was in the Navy, my father was often out on ships and aircraft carriers, and we lived in remote areas, Rhode Island and Maine, Virginia, Florida, often with forests, where I found a reverence for nature. And so this is by way of saying that the times that I've been with my daughter, as much as possible, as much as art became important and bodily aesthetics and playfulness, and another thing I want to say is just the artistry of satire. She's a real comic. She's amazingly satirical, witty, fast on her feet, law and order, but understands the beauty and the power of resilience through irreverence. And I've seen that as a remarkable shared space that we have together. Then there's nature. Nature is a rare thing if you live in urban environments. But you can always see it. You can see a bird or an insect or a squirrel. But if you go out into nature and then you begin to really acquaint oneself more and more and more with beaches and rocks and birds and fish and dolphins and sand and the willingness to get mucky and dirty and not to see it as dirty or mucky or, oh my God, your clothes are getting foul and they're going to have to be washed. And look at your shoes, they're just getting mud all the way up to your knees. For me, at this stage of life as a single dad, from the day she was born till the moment right now that she's 14 and a half, uncensored, let go, abide, engage, play, present time presence with the theater of shared space. And to you, beloved daughter, I came back, I want you to know, I came back from Bali to this beloved sanctuary, this monastic setting here, bequeathed to me by my beloved friend Bob Chardoff and his beloved wife Jenny Chardoff, where I've written a book that was going to be dedicated to you, that is dedicated to you, Extinction X-Rated. But based on the pandemic and lockdowns and your move and me unable to get into Canada, here we are, nearly a year later, unable to see each other. You're in my heart. Whatever happens, I will carry you, as it's been said, in my heart. You've given me the gift of seeing through your eyes what it means to be innocent and humble, to deal with your complexities and the complexities of your youth and your emergent teenage years, to see your flaws, your beauty, your strengths, your poetry, your gifts, your tolerance of me, your struggles, and the dance of a life up to this point, 14 and a half years. Your love of words and language and reading. One of the great gifts that I've found personally, because I rebelled so much and learned the high art of the lie as a youth to navigate the treachery of what felt to be the suffocating conditions of home. Bless my mom, bless my dad. They were just acting through the conditions of their best value, their best principles. But equally, there was a sense of ongoing shrapnel, if you will, that was very jarring, very sharp. And I didn't feel met, supported so often. Maybe my own daughter felt that. And so I had to navigate this treachery, what I felt, to be able to escape into the nature of my relationships with my friends and to get outside and to run, so to speak, with the birds and to howl at the moon and to build forts and to go deep and tried hard to instill, elevate, activate, and show by example the love of freedom. We've had a policy since she was young at the of all parents in Waldorf. No forcing. I don't believe in forcing. I believe in openness and talking and relating, showing by example. But fuck it, man. If she didn't want to eat what was being served or had a change of heart based upon, listen, this is not what I want right now, Dad. This is not what I want to do. No, I want to watch this and I don't want to eat this. Okay, that's your choice. That's completely your choice. And I would register my feeling or thoughts. And I think I really still stand on that no coercion policy of elevating the status of shared space to resonate with the inherent integrity of someone else, even if it's not the right thing, so to speak. Just giving up control. Giving up control and learning to be more improvisational, more, what's the word? Daring to be so unschooled that you're a wilderness goddess. That's so anathema to the monastic projection. But in monasteries, those of you who've had good Kalyanamitas know that there are no two fingerprints alike, no two people will ever kiss alike, no two people will ever make love alike. No matter how neo-tantrified you are in in-breath, out-breath with your partner, there's no 2 seconds of existence alike. And we as individuals, none of us will ever meditate alike. No 2 applications of mindfulness alike. No 2 enlightenments alike. We are utterly unique in this conditioned causality of infinity called samsara. And the only thing that I can see is this unconditioned nibbana that may even be unique to the individual, trans individual. We may be in utter novelty. It's uncertain to me that totalitarianism is a definition for existence, in that there is a total truth in how it operates. I don't have access to that totality. So in the absence of that certainty, that omnipotence, despite whatever little insights I've had, I have found the greatest gift, young woman, and all the children of the world, is to learn the fine art of shared space, but in that the risk-taking to be innovatively rad, dare to be true to your own sense of who you are. In that, we are free and we are equally respectful of others' freedom, so there's responsibility. Ethical intelligence, spiritual intelligence, mindful intelligence, cultural intelligence, societal intelligence, political lack of intelligence. Learn political intelligence. Learn the folly, the denigration of privilege and profit and singularity of race and color, creed. It's disgusting to me that so much wealth is accumulated in the hands of just a few, at the mercy, at the horror of the planet, of the future, of our lives, of the children. Overcome self-centeredness, young woman. Overcome greed. Overcome the cultural prison camp of capitalism and accumulation. More, more, more. Release. Release. Use things well. Do what you do to acquire things with elegance and grace. Learn the existential art of high dignity. Nobody can take your dignity from you, children, unless you give it to them. And be so watchful, as Mr. Noam Chomsky. Study his work. Study the machinations of mind control. Listen to Pink Floyd's "We Don't Need Your Edge." She grew up on that song. We don't need your mind control. Language. How many people live in the swirl of Sampapalapawasa? Study the machinations of that Pali concept, the swirling of circular language, the circuitry of repetition, samsara, sampapalapawasa, words that lead nowhere except generally back to your loot camp. Money, money, money. We don't need your money, money, money. Don't do anything just for money. Find the artistry, the heart-centric circuitry of your own unique passion. Do not, as it's been said, place any wealth or status in loot, crypto, fiat, real estate, whatever it may be. Learn the fine art over time, if there's an earth, of conscious engagement. Love the animals, love the birds, love the insects. They're perishing. 200 species a day are going into the annihilation tank, the memory hole, because us humans have not learned to coexist with decency and respect for non-human life. We do not understand who we are in relationship to the nature of existence. A predator species, overcome predator consciousness, learn to cohabitate. Fight for what you really believe in. Take risks to stand up for the freedom of your own being, for your own family, if you choose to have a family, for the freedom of others, for the freedom of the unborn. Our compassion is so narrow when I look back at my life to the suffering in front of you. No, what about the people, the animals, the trees, the earth, the cosmos, the dimensions, yet to come into formation? Far-reaching karuna. Love is an action, as Aung San Suu Kyi told me in our book, The Voice of Hope, back in '95. Otherwise, it's faux metta. The voice of hope made real through action. The quality of mudita, M-U-D-I-T-A, a very easily overlooked Pali concept. Very beautiful. The resonant joy, the deep resonant joy of feeling into the joy of another. It's like an immediate sense of happiness, no matter what one is feeling, when someone else is feeling joy, whatever it may be, minor, medium, or large. They're sharing with you some sense of success, some happiness, some contentment, some insight, rather than just simply deep listening or mindful listening or resonant appreciation. Explore. Mudita is the conscious, elegant exploration of another person's happiness and joy by flowering their contentment, by elevating their happiness, by creatively and artistically and intelligently and mindfully, in your own unique way, dedicate your presence to the joy of another when that moment arises. Mudita. There are times in our lives when the waves of life are so treacherous, they're wind-blown events. We don't understand the typhoon of another person's hate. We're dedicated to a country, like in my case, Myanmar and Burma, in the onslaught of a terrorist group known by the military, terrorizing, persecuting, raping the people beyond imagination. That's one outrage. At times one has to be in upekkha, somewhat of a balanced, poised equilibrium, cry, vulnerability. It's not just poise or balance, but it's trying its best to stabilize within complexity, upekkha. At other times, is the outrage of indignation. I dare the world community, I think sometimes, when I read the articles in the Irrawaddy and see videos, I hear testimonies, and I'm just like, I feel this constant, deep sense of unexplainable outrage that the world community Where are the Nobel laureates not shouting out for their sister, Buddhist laureate Aung San Suu Kyi? She's going to end up spending the rest of her life in prison. Are you so frail in your integrity that you can't see the way in which you were co-opted by the corporate media to vilify her and throw her under the bus because she didn't stand up for the Muslim Rohingya, or that she sided with the military and said, no, 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 they're good guys? No, that's not what happened, Alan. Chill. The world is an insult, young woman. It'll never be corrected based upon your views. Extinction, X-rated, Nibbana, dispassion, tolerance, Kanti, patience, be watchful of righteousness. If I've learned anything over the years of my life, it's you have a right to be outraged. Own your outrage. Own your scream. And be so pure in that outrage. Be so pure in your scream that you howl from the deepest recesses of your being and let it out. And be as mindful and self-loving and self-respectful that deeply in the soul of that scream is don't negate redemption. For you, for the objects of your blame, the objects of your legitimate judgment, I dare you allow to be complicit with the denigration, the murder, the assassination, the rape of our fellow nuns and monks and lay people, the revolutionaries, the leaders, the elected leaders, the democratic visionaries in Myanmar. How could you, world? How could you, United Nations? How could you, Mr. Biden? How could you, Buddhists around the world? How could you, Your Holiness? How could you, Desmond Tutu? How could you, 13 women Nobel laureates, not stand up for the people of Burma and don't just issue a written statement or sanctions? Why aren't there boots on the ground? Why aren't there ships off the coast of Myanmar? Why aren't there peacekeeping forces in the country? Why isn't Ming Online being persecuted, arrested? Why isn't he being taken out with his fellow terrorists to The Hague and tried to elevate the status of the world? Okay, Alan, you're really on your soapbox today. Well, listen, young lady, if you ever feel you need to get on a soapbox for the rightness of right, go for it. Go for being a prime minister. Go for being a president. Go for being a senator. Go for being a governor. Go for being a politician. Go for being an activist. Speak your mind, but don't persecute people. Killing people is fundamentally wrong. We denigrate ourselves. If life means anything, it means overcoming violence. So to inform our outrage with, hey, who I'm condemning, I could be, I have been, I might likely be in the future, redemption. Thank you for tuning in today. Thank you for being in my life. I hope you have a beautiful day. I hope you allow yourself, as you do, the miracle, the magic, the elixir of your own unique beautification on your terms as you stand naked in the fidelity of your authenticity, your own refined sense of God perfection, the way that you are made. I've said it so many times. Who taught us? Where did we learn the conditioning to denigrate the shape of our face? Who taught us to learn to think that lips different than the ones that we have as they change through time are somehow inappropriate to the status of what we think beauty should look like, as if we're sculpting from the inside and the outside things that like propaganda tools to keep manipulating this unnaturalness. Meditation is the fine, fine art of radical, not self-acceptance, but intimate naturalness. Because acceptance is just too static. It's a naturalness to be in the vocation of the asana of uniqueness. Asana is not the alignment of the perfection of a particular sun salutation. We have to become very accustomed to the fact that our bodies may not move, and yet the asana of authenticity and freedom become all the more nimble, all the more radiant. Do not place our freedom in form. Do not judge our form as being inadequate to our denial of projection of inadequacy. Learn the fine art of psychological intelligence. Learn MQ, mindful intelligence. As your grandmother once said to me, young Bella, mindfulness may be interesting, but even the soldier looking through the scope at the enemy, unless you're intelligent, right, Alan? You'll kill that person believing that they were an enemy when in fact, when you're really intelligent and mindful, you might question if the belief in enemy was an indoctrination, a manipulation, a propaganda. And you question everything. If there's anything I've learned about meditation, that mindfulness and intelligence are about the fine art of discernment, inquiry, freedom, virtue-based reasoning, and deep cellular questioning on the authenticity of a perception, and then validate, activate, trust, explore, and if it's a mistake, pause. Learn the fine art of saying no. Know the exit. No to rejection. No one has the right to ever touch your body. Even beautifully. Yes, be elegant in that approach, but only through shared, mutual, ongoing agreement are you loved, touched. Otherwise, it's a violation. Learn the distinction. You owe no one anything in terms of your mind or your body. Boundaries. Few people know that among the few Kalyanamitas I've had in my life, the successor to the Mahasi Sayadaw lineage in Myanmar, in Burma, was designated by Mahasi Sayadaw himself when he died to Sayadaw U Pandita, who became my teacher. He passed away in 1996. And one of his great innovative expressions of Dhamma in Burma was what's known as the Dhamma culture course. He taught children. I so wished, Bella, that you had met Sayadaw U Pandita, and I encourage you, and maybe I'll introduce you, should the breathing continue and it all happen, but seek out my beloved dear friends, Janine, your godmother, and my beloved dear friend Ingrid Yort. We were nuns together in Burma. They understand these things about Sayadaw and about Burma and about the children. I so wanted you to have the blessed opportunity, should you have chosen, I know this is my will, an invitation to take you there to see this incredible country, and maybe one day, post-dictatorship, go with a host. But to embark upon a month-long Dhamma culture course for children, maybe even to ordain as a tilash and a young nun. Every year during the summer months, the children in Burma at the Mahasi Yekta and at the Pandita Rama, 300, 400, 500, 600 children would come between the ages of 5, 6, 7 years old, 13, 14, 15 years old, almost every summer. I knew some of them for years and years and years. And they would stay there and they would learn Dhamma culture, the basic etiquette of interrelated presence in context for the evolution of how to purify the mind, how to subdue denigrating states of mind, and how to understand the high elegant fragrances known as Deva Dhammas, beautiful states of mind, compassion, metta, loving kindness, mudita, equanimity, patience, determination. And it's really the study of I would call it Dhamma literacy. And as we've learned, and as you know through music and vocabulary, the literacy of learning words and alphabets and vowels and intonation and definition. The same thing with the vocabulary of consciousness, the artistry of consciousness, the ability as we choose words and behaviors, the ability, Dhamma literacy is the ability to choose states of mind. Very few people have that skill. They're at the mercy of external events, and when something's pleasant, they feel happy. And when something's unpleasant, they feel sad. And they desire the pleasurable and they desire the avoidance of the unpleasant. But obviously, that can't be done at will. Not to mention 8 billion other people doing their thing that's often contrary to what's good for us. Obviously, the coal plants in China and the pollutions that are going on around the world affect all living creatures, and so too with our own behavior. And so Dhamma literacy, study the felt relationship. What I mean by felt is as you desire a meal, it requires the acquisition of that food, the cooking of that food, and then you must sit down, obviously, to eat and drink that nutrient. And then, derived from that food and that liquid, there are qualities that invigorate our blood, our organs, our biology, the ecosystem of inner being, to allow us to be animated through oxygen in our blood, to think, to remember, to live in the aesthetic of a life through perception. And so Dhamma literacy here is as we would eat food, or as we would breathe oxygen, or as we would bathe or shower, it requires the action of being in reality. If we want to learn to swim, we must do it in the water. We often went to the pool. I know you'll remember that so frequently. Being in the pool is very different than thinking about being in the pool. Dhamma literacy and meditation and the art of understanding states of mind is being in the oxygen, in the pool, in the nutrient, in the felt reality, direct experience of the states of mind. And then through familiarity and practice and artistry, we learn the fine Dhamma cultural aesthetic or literacy of applying consciousness on the terms of our own mindful choice. I am who I am based on choice. I hope all this makes sense. I was blessed to be around children long before you were born, young woman. Not so young anymore. In Burma, where I was blessed to interrelate with them, to see teachers teach them, to, in my own way, teach many of the teachers English so that they could teach the youth English, and in my own spare time in between meditations and study, I would often be in small groups with kids and to talk with them in English about what it meant to communicate in English. And I was blessed to learn from them the Burmese language. And what a gift it was to interrelate with kids in such a sacred environment. And so many things that I would like you to, consider. I only want you to consider them. But if there's anything that your dad has felt as the most valuable engagement in my life, it's been meditation. And learn from what I've shared in books and videos and audio tapes. Learn in your own way what's right for you. But it's not just a sitting meditation or an eating meditation or a walking meditation. What is meditation? Well, I encourage you, all the children of the world, explore that word. Go on a lifelong serendipity, a lifelong inner adventure, taking you to meet those special savants. And sir, madame, wherever in the world, do you know anything about meditation? Will you tell me about your experience in meditation? What were some of the pitfalls in meditation that you saw? How did you see those flaws in yourself? Can you talk to me, young woman, in India, in Mumbai, in Benares, in Yangon, in Ubud, in Canggu, in Byron Bay, in Fitzroy, in Geneva, in London, wherever you go? Ask questions on what inspires your soul interest. And my point here is about meditation. Please share with me. Be an apprentice of life. Be an apprentice of learning, acquiring the great skill of questioning. Never assume that you know what meditation is. It's a lifelong journey of how to make our existence a vehicle for liberation from greed, fear, overestimation of our depth, underestimation of another person's skills, judgment, anger. Learn the textures of these states of mind. I call them SOMs or SOCs, states of mind. If you remember, and I have so many videos, I'll show them to you, and if you can't, the phone is yours. They're all over my hard drive. Janine will give them to you. Look at all the art that you did and how you chose this color and you chose that color and you put this color into that color and you learned how to look at the gradations of colors mixing, and then you put another color in, and then you kind of went, no, and I can't get rid of that color by doing that except if I put this color in, through experimentation. Meditation is the fine art of the yogic word asana, which is experimentation with mind informed to liberate. You're never going to get it right, but you'll never get it wrong if you stay in dignity and mindful, respectful presence to keep liberating through life. Meditation is learning the art of liberation through living. Over accumulation, over the memorabilia of memories and albums, hard drives. We leave legacies behind only to fade into the sediment belt of the forgotten. What we do keep alive is the fine art of these transformational teachings of how to overcome violence, how to overcome predation, how to overcome denigration, how to embody art, how to embody heart, but not to be so zealous that you become religious, unless you need to go down that rabbit hole or up that trunk for a period of time. But keep questioning, always keep the dance alive that we're perpetually caterpillars climbing trees and branches to butterflies. And even the metaphor goes deeper than that. What is the genetic coding of the butterfly into its nest form? Trans-butterflydom, freedom through living, the radiance of freedom, meditation. Learn that art. Learn how to call off the future. I can abide. When I went to Burma and learned to meditate, it was hard to stop the momentum into the next. Even down here in the pandemic, even not knowing where I want to go next, that momentum into the next, that momentum, we call it naturalness. Meditation is basically saying, okay, I can co-occupy who I am, where I am, as I am. Who I am, where I am, as I am. In breath, out breath. That you can do that. That you can sanctify the ease of being. That you can stretch beyond the restlessness, the worry, the anxiety. And it's a lot of anxiety in the world today, a lot of stress, a lot of noise. A lot of people want you to participate in the pornography of propaganda. Noise, noise, noise. If you're going to go out without a mask, you're going to die. Get the vaccine, get the vaccine. Global totalitarianism. We're on the death march to the annihilation of all life. Never lose hope by keeping the meditative ability. No matter how silent the tsunami is, and it's always there, decode it. Don't believe the face of fear. It's an internal creation. It's not inherent in form. Everything, the propaganda of greed and anger and delusion and projection and blame and all the various forms of violence that you think that are in the world, they're in the human DNA. See these phantasms as generated through you, not self-generated, but responsibly. I see you, I feel you, I want to learn to love you and relax that too. Meditation is the fine art of not just letting go, but that too, but equally knowing what to hold. When you walk through the forest, you see a rock, you don't need to pick it up necessarily unless it's a diamond. No gems from stones, and sometimes stones build houses and diamonds don't. Diamonds abide in the home. Remember that you're the diamond. Your integrity is the diamond. Sometimes you pick up the rock, sometimes you go, nope, thank you very much. I don't feel like I want to make love with you, really. Nope, I don't want that job. No, not really. I want to walk around that rock. You're a viper. No. I can see your head swirling. I don't buy that type of snake. I know you're a sociopath in disguise. I've known them my whole life. But your little swirling action is not so enticing, and nor do I have to correct your inability to know who you are. Know the distinction between who you are, what you're capable of doing, and you don't need to abide to teach everyone, what they don't want to know about themselves. So you walk around the rock. Don't do too much jumping over. Snakes have a capacity, like monkeys, to leap. Sometimes you go, namaste doesn't mean I see the God in you. I see the devil fucker in you. And I'm going to namaste my ass away from you. So you walk backwards. And sometimes you sprint. You get your ass out of there as fast as you can. Life requires speed, mental, physical, and sometimes you just got to jettison out of the circumstance. You see some bad dudes walking on the side of the street, crossing over, you turn around and you go the other way fast and learn the fine art of a martial art. A rave for the children, thinking of my daughter today, hospital week this week, hospital week next week. I don't know what's going to happen. Not nervous, but it's an assessment of the heart, the complexity of a possible surgery, the complexity and the risks of a recovery, the advantages of turning this thing into a mystical gift, more and more the radiance of that gift. What does it look like? Who do I want to be with? What's missing? What's on the horizon? Where do I want to go? With whom and how? I'm feeling my artistry, my Dhamma literacy, my Dhamma culture is continuing to elevate. I could go on, maybe tomorrow, God willing, it'll be thinking of my daughter day 2. I think about you every day, every hour. It's not just you. I think about your well-being, your happiness, your joys, your struggles. Just know deep in your heart, I'm good. Wherever I've failed myself. Have mercy, have compassion. I understand that it's difficult to navigate the complexities in your life and the complexity of children in their lives. It could get far worse, and it will. Please forgive me for my shortcomings, my mistakes. Celebrate my victories. I love you from the depth of my heart and more, regardless of form and circumstances. I invite you to dance through perpetuity until we both attain the timeless Nibbana, the Arhantship. You're part of my samsaric sangha, as are a number of other blessed people in my life. Janine, Ingrid, Catherine, Mitch, Summer, Marcia, Dave, Aunt Kathy. There's so many splendid people I've been talking to this last month. You know who you are. This is our family. Know them in time. Spend time with them. Ask them, what did you learn from my dad? How did my dad let you down? Not to validate mistakes in my life, but to learn from things I didn't see about myself. Have the good grace to collectively learn from each other. And as I close today, I don't know what the future brings for you, for me, for our tribe, for our network. But every day, Sarah, every day, Bella, every day, Sarabella, every day, children, I anoint my day. I anoint my waking up from sleep, and I occupy the best of me. And I would only invite, find practices, find trainings, find forms of yoga, find people that allow you, support you to activate the Dhamma intelligence in you, the yoga intelligence in you, the asana of freedom. And do all that you can to strengthen your resources. You're going to need to strengthen your interior to the point where none of us have ever known, because the future is complex. Develop resilience, develop compassion, and develop ethical courage to know what's right and to know what to walk away from. And so from my heart to yours, I love you, I am with you, I think of you, I feel you, I support you, and I have great confidence of my own fortitude, my own psychic, spiritual strength to keep on, keeping on. And I do believe it will keep on keeping on. And may you and I come together in real time again soon, wherever that may be. In this life, I pray, and certainly the next life as well. So, from my heart to yours, thank you, beloved daughter. Thank you, children. Rise up, steward this precious planet, overcome evil, purify your own minds, and dream and adventure and keep alive the power of wonderment as we explore the cosmos in form, wherever we go as a species, as consciousness, plant the good seed of Dhamma, the awakening from fear, and finding liberation through living, no matter how critical or complex the circumstances may be. Never give up hope. So from my heart to yours, I will be here, God willing, on the days that I'm not in hospital this week and next week. Okay. Thank you.